So how do I wake up at 5 in the morning? A lot of people need to get up at 5 a.m. because they've got to get right to work and they want to create that practice. And some people just feel like it'll help them be more productive. So how can you start waking up at 5 a.m.? So the first thing that I did in order to become a 5 a.m.er is that I started by getting to bed on time. Sometimes this is difficult because if you are used to going to sleep at 11 o'clock, for example, or midnight or even later, getting into bed at 9:30 so that you can wake up around 5 a.m. can be difficult. So sometimes you have to start with step 2, which is start waking up at 5. So setting your alarm and putting your alarm in another room in order to get up earlier. Also understanding that it's not likely that you will naturally wake up at 5 a.m. Our bodies and like our internal clocks are really set to work with light. So when the sun starts to rise, when our brain can sense that the sun is up, that's essentially when your body will naturally get up. So in order to wake up at 5 a.m., which is it's like never light outside at 5 a.m., even in the summer, depending on where you live, because I remember going to Japan and I remember it being 4 a.m. and the sun was out, which is probably why they call it the land of the rising sun. But in general, if you are in the US or if you're kind of like midway between the equator and the North Pole, then it's likely that 5 a.m. is not sunny for you. So with that in mind, that means that you're going to have to set some sort of alarm. So step 3 is to put that alarm into another room. So what you want to do is you want to put that alarm in another room, but close enough to where you'll be able to hear it, far enough to where you have to get out of bed to turn it off. The reason that I say do this is because sometimes I've turned off my alarm without even remembering that I did. And I once almost missed the flight because of it. And ever since then, I kind of get scared now to miss flights, so I actually will wake up earlier. But in order to make sure that I was able to get up, I would just put my alarm, my phone, or whatever I'm going to use, put it in another room. When I do that, or put it away from the bed, I'm able to actually get up, go turn the alarm off. Once your feet hit the ground, it's that much harder to get back into the bed. Step 4 to start waking up at 5 a.m. Once you have started going to bed earlier, set your alarm and then put your alarm in a different room. Step 4 is to figure out what that one thing is that you can do, that one domino that you can tip over that will make the biggest difference in you staying awake. Okay, so figure out your one domino. For me, that is standing up, opening my eyes, and just opening my eyes and stretching. Usually once I open my eyes, putting my feet on like cold floor. So going into the bathroom where there's tile, my feet go in the cold floor, I'm pretty much wide awake. As soon as the light comes on, I'm pretty much wide awake. When I first started doing this, I used to drink water right before I went to bed. And around 5 a.m., I really couldn't stay in bed because I felt like I had to pee. So that might be something that can help you. So figure out whatever that trigger might be for you so that you can actually get up, get out of bed, and stay awake. And my final tip for waking up at 5 a.m. is to make it a habit. Don't change just because it's a holiday or just because it's the weekend. So what I do in order to wake up at 5 a.m. consistently is that on Saturdays, I will get out of bed as soon as my eyes open. I don't set an alarm, but usually my eyes open around 7 o'clock and I still get out of bed. Even though it's a day where I might want to sleep in, I get up anyway because it's going to make it that much easier to wake up at 5 a.m. when Monday comes back around. Same thing for Sunday. I get out of bed around 7 a.m. and then it makes it that much easier for me to get back into bed at 9:30 so I can get up and get ready for the day so I can wake up. Now, one thing that I will say is that when the winter comes, because I have a flexible schedule as a self-employed entrepreneur, I typically switch my schedule up. And right now it's the winter, so I am going to the 9:30 a.m. CrossFit class, which means that I don't have to wake up at 5 to go to the 6 a.m. class. I can instead wake up around 7 or 8. So in the winter, I'm usually sleeping in a little bit later, but still waking up around 8 a.m. Then I'll get my business day started started, and instead of finishing work around 3 or 4 like I normally do, my work kind of extends into the evening. Don't forget to watch the video where I talk about a day in the life of a solopreneur, self-employed entrepreneur, where I kind of talk about my schedule, what I do, what a typical day looks like, because I talk about how I wake up at 5 a.m. Maybe I'll do a winter day in the life because it looks a little bit different. It's not as structured as the summer days, which I find kind of interesting because, you know, traditionally when you think about it, like school was always structured and then summer was free play, but that's essentially, it changes in the winter just because the weather changes. And one of the things I really wish is that corporate America in general would allow something like this, where in the winter, since we're still stuck with daylight savings time, in the winter where they would allow employees to, you know, maybe sleep in a little bit more. I think it would make people a little bit less grumpy, but that's another story for another day. Before I go, tell me, are you a 5 a.m.er? How do you wake up at 5 a.m.? Comment below, like the video. It really helps me to reach more people. So I appreciate those of you who do comment. Like, subscribe, comment. Are you a 5 a.m.er? See you in the next one. Bye.